Hello, dear fans, friends, and subscribers. Welcome to the daily cricket show, Cricket Happenings, with your host Ram. And as far as today's cricket happening show is concerned, it's about England versus South Africa. The first one-day international was played today at Headingley in Leeds, and the outcome was England were the victors. England actually, in a very high-scoring game, England actually amassed 339 for six. It was spurred on by the captain Morgan's century, his 11th ODI century, 107 of 93, that was 7 fours and 5 sixes. And besides that, Morgan also probably was someone, and also there was a real biff from Moeen Ali as he cracked 77 of 51, that is 5 fours and 5 sixes to take the England score to 339 for 6 on a very, very good wicket. Where strokes were not very difficult to play, one could say. South Africa definitely made a bid for it, no doubt about it. England 339 for 6 was what they finished with, and England were the victors by 72 runs. South Africa started off Hashim Amla and du Plessis playing a substantial knock, and with AB de Villiers briefly threatening with 45. But the problem for South Africa was that the middle order and the complete South African order caved in to the pressure, and finally the South Africans were all out for 267, England winning the match by 72 runs. So it was a well-deserved victory, and so that is as far as that match is concerned. Now we are talking about the Walton ODI Tri-Series, which was held in Ireland. New Zealand and Bangladesh clashed at the Clontarf Cricket Club ground, and today it was an unlikely victory. Bangladesh actually have never beaten New Zealand outside Bangladesh in an ODI, and today that they achieved that, with New Zealand actually batting first and making 270 for 8, and Bangladesh actually won the match by 5 wickets with 10 balls remaining. A 5-wicket victory, and I thought it was a very good chase. It was some very good contributions coming in from Tamim and Sabir Rahman and Mushfiqur Rahim and Mahmudullah, and that really completed it. And as I said, this was their first ever ODI victory outside Bangladesh. So they always beaten New Zealand in their own den, but they have never beaten them outside their den, and that would have given them a lot of heart. As I've said, Bangladesh are a very good team, and they showed us why today. So, and also I am told that the ODI, the Tri-Series is all over. I was a bit surprised at that, because one thought that this was a formality match and then probably the finals would be contested between Bangladesh and New Zealand, but one does not know what is the reason. It's concluded because the man of the match and the man of the series has also been named for the Ireland Tri-Nation Series. All in all, New Zealand were the victors, having 12 points, and Bangladesh were running them close with 10 points. So that was the situation. So, but let's first head off towards the South African-England game and see what really happened there in the first ODI, which was played at the Headingley in Leeds. Well, this was a good wicket. The sun was shining brightly, one could say, and South Africans were the ones who actually decided, winning the toss, they decided to insert the Englishmen into bat. Well, the start for England was not a good one at all. Jason Roy playing an expansive drive at the delivery from Parnell, which was leaving him, was caught by Decock for 1, so that behind the stump. So he was gone for 1 of 6 deliveries. After that, Alex Sales was joined in by Joe Root. Alex Sales was nurdling runs. He was getting some good runs through the onside, which is very strong at the other end. Joe Root started off pretty quickly, but then fell off, and after that we saw that Joe Root was not really able to force the pace. So he and Hales took that time after Jason Roy's dismissal. It was also a matter of just rectifying the situation, and that's what Alex Hales and Joe Root did by adding 98 runs to take it to the 18th over. But that was the time Andy Felcavallo, who is not normally a express pace bowler, he also bowls at military medium, or a bit more than military medium, and he was the one who actually was testing Joe Root with some bouncers, and here Joe Root fell a victim as he tried to shovel one down the leg side, a ball from Felcavallo, which Amla took the catch, and he was gone for 37. And before that, there were more trouble as Alex Hales had already departed to the bowling of Phil Cavallo for 61 of 60 doubles 8 fours, which made the score 122 for 3. And so that really left with two new batsmen at the crease, the England captain Morgan and along with Ben Stokes. Ben Stokes came in, and Ben Stokes contributed 25 of 30 deliveries with 1-6 before Kagiso Rabada snapped him by really getting him caught by Miller. He was gone for 25. But Josh Butler, as soon as Josh Butler came, probably the South Africans had a definite game plan. They decided to bring in Chris Morris into the attack, and Chris Morris did the trick in the very first over that he bowled to Josh Butler by probably setting a trap for Josh Butler, and Butler fell a victim, caught by Miller or the bowling of Morris for 7 to actually really put the England team in a bit of real bother at 198 for 5 in the 35th over. But Morgan, on the other hand, was confidence personified in his stroke making. He was really hitting it well. He was hitting the pace bowlers. We were also going after the spinners, and things were going on. But Moeen Ali joined. But Moeen Ali came in and totally, along with Morgan, who also was really timing the ball very sweetly on a pitch which was really helping the strokes. We saw Morgan and Moeen Ali really take off from 198 for 5, where probably the South Africans could have really tightened it up. They couldn't, because Moeen Ali took over, and Moeen Ali also started cracking boundaries and sixes, and finally it was a very good partnership which enabled England to reach 339. In fact, Morgan, after making his 11th ODI century, 107 of 93 deliveries, 7 fours and 5 sixes in that knock, fell a victim to the bowling of Morris. But this was his 11th ODI century. And also one more thing, Morgan probably has become the highest ODI run getter for England with this particular knock. But one has to really look at the statistics. So he made 107, but Moeen Ali was so severe on Imran Tahir that he hit him for 3 sixes. And not only that, he walked down the wicket, he shimmied down the wicket and smote Wayne Parnell into the crowd. So Moeen Ali was not out on 77 of 51 deliveries with 5 fours and an equal number of sixes. And Chris Woakes was not out on 6, as England finished on a very healthy score of 339 for 6 of their 50 overs. Now the bowling, Rabada 1 for 63, Parnell 1 for 47 was a bit effective. Chris Morris 1 for 10 overs 1 made and 261. Imran Tahir 9 overs disappearing for 68 after the caning he got from Moeen Ali, 22 coming of the final over. Phil Cavallo 9 overs 2 for 59. Dumini 6 overs none for 34. So South Africa were set a target of 340 from 50 overs. And looking at the pitch as in the way that the pitch was actually playing, one would have definitely thought that South Africa are going to make a real fist of it. Well, the start was not good. Quinton de Kock was the first to be dismissed when Chris Woakes actually picked up his wicket, getting him caught behind for 5. That was wicket number 1. But Hashim Amla was looking in his element. He was stroking the ball freely and fluently, and the boundaries were just flowing from his bat as he was looking good. Du Plessis joined him, and Du Plessis also looked good, and Hashim Amla and Du Plessis did a good job. Similar situation to what England were, as they added 112 good runs and took the team to the halfway mark in the 25th over, as Amla was looking good. But then Amla was a victim of Mark Wood, who had him LBW for 73 of 76 deliveries with 8 fours. Du Plessis was still there, as he was joined in by A.B. de Villiers. And Du Plessis and A.B. de Villiers at the crease, as you know, they are a very good, formidable pair as well. But Du Plessis, after the entry of de Villiers, did not last long, as Plunkett picked up his wicket caught behind for 67 of 61 deliveries, 8 fours. So de Villiers then had to take up the mantle, and A.B. de Villiers, well, he was doing his job, and that was to really get the boundaries on. He was stroking the ball pretty well, and it was only a matter of the other South African batsmen actually rallying around A.B. de Villiers, which unfortunately didn't happen. De Villiers did his bit. He briefly flourished with 45-38, dealt with 7-4s. But the problem for South Africa, I thought, Amla and du Plessis had done a good job and De Villiers was there to guard the ship. But the problem area for South Africa happened to be from the number 5 batsman. It all started off. One would have expected David Miller and Morris to really contribute, but unfortunately that didn't happen. And the spinners were into action at the time. Rashid got rid of Duminy for 15 of 18 deliveries, 1-4. David Miller fell a victim to the bowling of Vokes, who was the best bowler, 11 of 10 deliveries. Ali took care of Moeen Ali, taking care. He also did well with the ball. Moeen Ali, he picked up that important wicket of Chris Morris, the dangerous batsman, for 5 of 4 balls with 1-4. And then when A.B. de Villiers fell to the bowling of Ali, it was really curtains for South Africa, with Parnell making 19 of 23 balls, 2 fours, falling a victim to Vokes. Felikawayo was bowled by Rashid for 4. Rabada also fell a victim to the bowling of Vokes for 19 of 21 balls, but there was nothing that they could do, and the South African innings ended up at 267 all out. Thus England winning the first ODI by 72 runs. As far as the bowling was concerned, from the English bowlers, Chris Vokes was a picture of confidence. 8 overs, no made in 38 runs and 4 wickets. He bowled a decent line and got his rewards. Mark Wood 6 overs, 149. Plunkett 9 overs, 1 for 42. Adil Rashid 10 overs was caned, but nevertheless he picked up 2 wickets. Ben Stokes 2 overs for 14, and Ben Stokes was a sort of a good thing to happen for South Africa, because Ben Stokes unfortunately had to hold his knee and go back, and he could not take any further part in the bowling. 2 overs for 14, and we all know as Ben Stokes what a role he plays. So definitely England will deserve credit for actually winning this by 72 runs. Ben Stokes 2 overs, 14. Moeen Ali 9 overs, 2 for 50, doing an all-round job. Joe Root 1 over 1 for 4, and Moeen Ali of England was named. So that came as a surprise. Probably Morgan did only with the bat, but Moeen Ali actually did it with both bat and ball, and that's the reason Moeen Ali getting the nod as the man of the match in this particular match. But nevertheless, we had a good clash, and one hopes to see more good clashes in the forthcoming 2 one-day internationals that are coming up before the Champions Trophy between England and South Africa. Now, let's have a look at the other match, which is Bangladesh versus New Zealand. We're talking about the Ireland Tri-Nation Series that played at the Clontarf Cricket Club ground, Dublin in Ireland. And as I said, this was normally a formality match, and one was really surprised to see that this particular match really probably they thought that there was no point in playing the final, and they probably made some last minute changes. I'm not so sure about it, but I was a bit surprised to see that this was the final match today which happened, but it was not the real finals in fact. So anyway, let's see what happened. So New Zealand batted first on this wicket, and New Zealand did not get a good start. Mustafizur Rahman was the one who provided them an early breakthrough by holding the ball, and Luke Ronchi actually falling into the bait as he tried to play a airy shot at the bowling of Mustafizur Rahman, and Shakib Al Hasan snapping the catch. He was gone for 2, but after that Latham and Broom combined together to put a good stand of 100 and I think it was 133 runs. Just well done. Tom Latham, as usual, was looking pretty confident with his stroke making. Broom was also doing a good job, and both were doing well, and they pushed the score on to 156 in the 29th over. But Nasir Hussain, the off-spinner, was introduced, and Nasir Hussain was the man who actually took those 2 big wickets. First he picked up Latham by clean bowling him, and then we saw Neil Broom, Latham making 84 of 92 deliveries, 11 fours. Neil Broom making 63 of 76 deliveries with 7 fours, falling a victim to Nasir Hussain. Taylor joined. Anderson clubbed 24 of 32 balls, 3 fours before becoming a victim of Shakib Al Hasan. Neesham was out for 6, and the lower middle order definitely could not give the much needed support that Taylor needed to actually take the New Zealand score to 300. Didn't happen, as I thought the Bangladeshi bowlers Mushraf Murtaza and Mustafizur Rahim. Actually, Mossadegh, or probably it was, I think it was the Mustafizur Rahim in particular, who in the last, that is the last 20 overs of New Zealand's innings, I thought they really put some brakes on the bowling, and not only did that, they also picked up the wickets, as Neesham was out for 6, Santner for duck, Munro, of whom much would have been expected, was out for 1 in a tailor-made situation. Henry was out for 5, and that left Ross Taylor, who was doing a good job, not out on 60, for 56 deliveries, 6 fours, as New Zealand innings and after 50 overs read 270 for 8. So now, as far as the bowling was concerned, from the Bangladeshi bowlers, Mashrafe Murteza, 10 overs, no maiden, 252. Mustafizur Rahman, 1 for 46, did a good job. Ruben Hassan, 10 overs, 1 for 56. Nasser Hussain doing a good job as well, 9 overs, 247. Shakib Al Hasan, 8 overs, 2 for 41. Also handled it well. Mossadegh Hussain, 3 overs, none for 14. Now, Bangladesh were given a target of 271 to win. And what a start for Bangladesh. I mean, can you imagine this? It was Jeetan Patel was given the ball, and the very first delivery actually disappeared out of the park, and the ball had to be changed, and the man who actually hit that stroke was none other than the Bangladeshi opener Tamim Iqbal, who the very first delivery of the Bangladesh innings sent the ball soaring into the air and out of the stadium, and they had to actually replace the ball. So that was really something, a breathtaking shot from Tamim Iqbal. The very first ball, he put all his, he thrust that ball with immense power into the air, and it sailed out of the park. What a shot that was, Tamim Iqbal. And Tamim Iqbal started off in a real flash, and in the very first over, I mean, he had got 7 runs. I mean, he had hit the 6 of the first ball of Jeetan Patel, and he had taken a single. And Soumya Sarkar, of the very first delivery that he faced, Jeetan Patel actually picked up his wicket by getting him caught by Anderson. So that was a big blow, 7 for 1. And after that, Sabir Rahman came in to join Tamim Iqbal. And Sabir Rahman and Tamim Iqbal really combined beautifully. And Sabir Rahman in particular was really hitting the ball with good force, as well as he was pulling the ball well in his short deliveries, and he's such a player who likes to go over the top, and he was doing that perfectly. He was hitting the ball over the bowler's head, he was lofting the ball very well, and he was doing a fine job. At the other end, Tamim Iqbal, after Sabir, he saw that Sabir Rahman was really getting into his groove. I thought Tamim Iqbal, I wouldn't say that he played second fiddle, but I thought Tamim Iqbal and Sabir Rahman really played the percentage cricket to push the Bangladesh score on to 143 with a 136 runs partnership for the second wicket, which was a record, I am told. And the match had come to the 27th over, and they were doing a very decent job there at the centre. But then finally, Tamim Iqbal, after making 65-80 deliveries, 6 fours and 1 6, was a victim of the bowling of the left-arm spinner Mitchell Santner. It happened, and then Sabir Rahman, who was looking in very good nick with scoring 65-83 deliveries with 9 fours with some good aggression, he was run out by a beautiful piece of fielding by Neil Broom. He was gone for 65. Mossadegh Hussain made 10 of 13 balls, 2 fours, becoming victim of Patel. And then Shakib Al Hasan could contribute only 19 with 2 boundaries. But Mushfiqur Rahim was there in the centre to nurture his team to victory. At the other end, it was Mahmudullah, who was also doing a good job as a finisher. I thought Mahmudullah was doing a good job, so it was probably there was a good understanding between Mushfiqur Rahim and Mahmudullah, where Mushfiqur Rahim was the one who was trying to, see to it that he keeps his wicket intact, and probably has made it a determination that if at all Bangladesh had to win, it was Mushfiqur Rahim who had to guide the chase, and that's what precisely happened. But Mahmudullah contributed in a wonderful manner as he opened up his shoulders and started playing some nice strokes. And as the match ended, it was good to see that Bangladesh had registered their first away series ODI win over New Zealand, with Mushfiqur Rahim not out on 45 as many balls, 3 fours, 1 6. Mahmudullah was now at 46 of 36, 6 fours and 1 6, and in the process, Mahmudullah also reached 3,000 runs in one-day international cricket. So well done, Bangladesh. And Bangladesh actually won this match, so they would be very happy that they registered their first ever win against New Zealand in an away match other than Bangladesh. Player of the match went to Mushfiqur Rahim. Player of the series was taken by Tom Latham. As far as the bowling was concerned, Jitan Patel, we would never forget that fantastic stroke that Tamim Iqbal played, where in the very first delivery he set the tone for Bangladesh by smacking him for a huge 6 out of the park, and the ball had to be changed on the very first ball. Very rarely when I've seen this happen in ODI cricket. Probably the former Indian player Virendra Sehwag has done it. That's what comes to mind. Matt Henry 10 overs, 149. Anish Bennett 9.2 overs, no 147. I thought he bowled well. 5 overs to 37 for Anderson. Santner 10 overs, 153. And Nisham for 28 for 4. And I'm told the Walton ODI series, the tri-series has been decided. Just gave us a surprise. Probably one thought it was a formality match and the finals were going to be contested. But probably I was wrong. It is all over. It's New Zealand who have won the Tri-Nations ODI series here in Clontarf in Ireland. And also Bangladesh finished second with 10 points. New Zealand finishing with 12 points. Well, congratulations to New Zealand. And Bangladesh also for getting their first away series win against New Zealand. Thanks for your company and thanks for watching Cricket Happenings. This is your host Ram signing off finally. Thank you.